Preparing the live stream. We are now live. Jody Williams, how are you doing, my friend?
I'm doing good. What's up? What's up, everybody out there? Make sure you hit the like button first and foremost. So,
yes, do that. And I'm turning on the monetization, so we're not adverse to the odd super chat here and there. It's been a little dry lately. We haven't had many of those. However, not a requirement. I mean, we're not doing this for the money. We're in this for the pure entertainment. Yes. And that's why, Jody, you're one of the original guys, man. Like, I don't think people realize that you are one of the original guys that started up like a broadcasting scenario for arm wrestling conversations.
Yeah. Here's the funny part. So here's a did you know before we get into our topics, a did you know? And they both have to do with Canada, right? So yep. My first ever Arm Talk guest was Angie Rose.
All right. Soon to be maybe Angie Bath.
Yeah. And my first ever guest on Arm Talk on YouTube was my current partner in crime, Mr. Espy.
Nice.
So I didn't know if you knew that, but I thought I'd get that out there.
I didn't know that. I did not know that. I don't know why I didn't know that.
Yeah. My first ever YouTube. Because I always did my stuff on Facebook because it was just easier. And then finally, I transitioned to YouTube, and my first guest was you.
Well, I'm happy you did that, man. I always said you should be on YouTube, where Drake's already in the house.
All right.
Trying to get some, generate some stuff for yourself here.
I appreciate it.
Super happy that you did that. So where do we begin, Jody? Let's talk. I want to just mention a sponsor I have that's been around with me for a long time, and I don't give them enough credit. Well, there's a few. I mean, Western Survivor Beef Jerky has always kept me in the beef jerky game here.
Right.
Kept me supplied. But we have Supplement King in Portage la Prairie. They actually give me so much. It's something I'm grateful for. So a shout out to them. I have the sign behind me. It's always something I should have in here.
I need some jerky.
Hey?
I need some jerky. Yeah. Well, they gave me a sample and I liked it. I just never got to where I could order more. So I need to get in contact with those guys again.
And because it's not Monday morning, I'm having a rum.
Well, I have to go to work tonight at 11 o'clock. So that's why I got coffee right now.
I got
it's
you.
Been a roller coaster week. Just, because lack of employees, a lot of them quitting. So me being the supervisor, and I had to step in and cover shifts. So.
Gotcha. Well, right on. So tell me.
Yes, sir.
Topic number one.
I want to talk about East versus West, right? 3. And the reason why, the first thing I want to talk about is Dave Chafee and Gennady, right? And both guys, this is where Chafee needs to redeem himself, I think, after, he went up against the man, Levon, came out on the short end of the stick, 6-0, like everyone else has, though. So I guess it's nothing to feel too bad about. But again, now you need to get back on the horse again, dust yourself off, get back on the horse, get back into the running. It's a match that I'm looking forward to,
I had not really even thought about this match. It wasn't even really on my radar until like a day ago.
Right.
And it's a rematch because Dave just beat Gennady not that long ago.
Yeah.
But it's safe to say that Gennady has leveled up. So it'll give us a more clear picture of where Dave is in the grand scheme of things too.
Yeah. The last time they pulled, I think this was back when Top 8 was about to rev up again. And it was one of those wild card matches. I guess you could say that, because it was a qualifying match, because you had Chafee had to pull Gennady. I think on that same one, Kardeka had to pull Krasimir. And I think Joe Fox had to pull somebody in the 95 class. And I forgot who his opponent was to qualify for it. Was going to be 2 top 8s.
It was the Latvian.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name for the life of me, but I'm bad with names lately anyway.
Because this was when you had the 95 plus kilo class, and then the 95 kilo class, and that was going to have Brzezinski and Joe Fox, and I think it was going to be maybe Zoliev might have been in that one. I couldn't remember, but it was going to be that class, and then of course the pandemic kind of put a knife through that thing and kind of ended that, and then it just kind of died off because then it's like the top 8 now we're going to have one match instead of matches plural. It's just one match every so often, and that's just stretching the whole thing out.
Well, is it safe to think like a lot of people used to speculate about the WAL, but I think what we've seen lately, we are now speculating about the PAL because you have all these former top 8 guys pulling at the East versus West or the King of the Table events. You got Kurdecha versus Vitali coming up, which by all rights should have been in the cards for the PAL events. It's a little bit. I'm just looking at comments, trying not to get distracted. It's a little bit weird that they're letting all these matches go somewhere else.
Now, did these guys sign a contract? I'm not sure. I'm just guessing. If these guys sign a contract and they're exclusive, there's got to be some kind of clause stating that, hey, if you guys are not going to be active, then, and I have the opportunity as a, sponsored athlete per se, and I can go here and make some money, why can I not do that? If you guys are not going to do anything, free me up till I can do something else. You know what I mean?
I remember having a conversation with Alex about this, and he mentioned, why would we sign a contract? And I've heard this said before. Right. Why would he sign a contract when it gives you nothing until you're actually at the event? So it does nothing for you other than prevent you from arm wrestling where you want to arm wrestle. And I think we've turned a corner here, and we touched on this the other night too with Jeff, but we're kind of getting segued into this a little bit. We can put this off for a little bit later if you want, but the contract thing is something we should touch on because a lot of people think contracts are dead simply because there are so many promotions out there that do not require them.
Yeah. Yeah, we could touch base on that. It all depends on what that contract states. Let's just play devil's advocate and we'll talk WAL. Hey, if you're locked in for 2-3 years, you may not go participate in a different federation. Although some people like Devin Larrett had a clause. Michael Todd had a clause because even Michael, he still is the reigning hammer holder. He still had a clause to go compete at a, what was it? He competed somewhere. Was it Nemiroff or something like that? He still will compete. Devin Larrett was contracted by WAL, but after 2018, maybe, then he ended up pulling Saplinkov. Different hand, but he still ended up pulling Saplinkov in the PAL. So I think depending on who the athlete is, they may have a clause in their contract.
Well, also the other thing was, even in my contract, there was no clause, but I could ask permission.
Right.
And it was as long as it was outside of the season.
Yeah.
And not a match that they really had their heart set on. They never said no.
Well, like I said, you got this window. Anything in between these windows, you're, delegated to your contract. Anything outside these windows, you're free to do. All they want you to do is not get hurt, I guess is what it comes down to. So,
I was thinking about that the other day, and I thought to myself, maybe they didn't call me lately or keep me in the loop lately because I got hurt against Alex and I broke the one rule they told me to uphold.
And that's the thing, because and since we're on this topic, contracts. If you can we talk about that? Are you allowed to talk about that?
I don't see why not.
I mean, I don't want you if you can. I don't want to,
No one's ever told me it was. I never signed a non-disclosure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to break down any walls, the fourth wall. But if you're currently still in the contract and then you go compete at an Arm Wars, and I guess, that was what, September of last year?
So October, beginning of October.
Well, I guess you're outside. I mean, I don't know what the window is, but if it's a wall thing, usually wall was done by September. So anything after that, you're free to do, I'm guessing, I'm speculating. I'm just,
Yeah, I guess. I mean, they haven't really prevented me from pulling anywhere I wanted to pull unless they were actually leading up to an event that was about to happen.
Okay.
So, and if I had a match like when I had the Jerry match, no one's going to offer me a match that competes with that anyway.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. The only way I'd see someone putting a kibosh on that is if those two pullers, like let's just take Vitaly and Cadetza, they're about to pull, and yet both guys are probably contracting the PAL. That was their match, their guys, and now it's over to King of Table. What was that? Is that King of Table 3 they were pulling at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they probably got a much better offer from Larry's crew over there.
So it makes me wonder, hey, Mazarenko, what's going on over there, man? Because you're losing your pullers,
Well, they have mastered the pay-per-view. It seems like the core sports guys have mastered that system, and I know I'm going to pay for it. I mean, they could probably charge. They're charging $11.99 right now. Before it was, half that. They keep building it up. I mean, the hardcores are still going to pay maybe even up to UFC prices for some of those pay-per-views.
Well, speaking of pay-per-views, I think this is where we're at right now. So a couple years ago, we were talking about how we went from tournaments to super matches now. Now we're 2022, and now we're going straight, hey, we're doing all pay-per-views. The reason why I say that, because I'm involved in one coming up in April. I'm not going to be pulling in it, but I will be down there to film. So it's Arizona State Championships. It is April 23rd up in Arizona, and I'll be there. So you're going to have the tournament itself. Cool. And the plan is, once the tournament's all said and done, then change the venue for the super matches. And then you got to pay on to get in, all that kind of stuff. That's where I come in. Arm Talk will be live. I'm going to be interviewing the pullers immediately after their matches, so I can get exclusive YouTube live. Hey, what's your reaction? You had a good match. Where do we see you next? Or if you lost, hey, you had a tough thing. What'd you do wrong? What can you do to correct that? That's what I'm going to be doing down there. So hopefully by doing that, I'll get more subs. But that's where we're at with the super matches now. And that's going to be a good card. We're talking Don Underwood against Wayne Withers. We're talking Paul Passmore versus Robbie Topi. We're talking Corey Miller, and I want to say the Jedi, Giannis.
Oh,
yeah, that's going to be awesome. And I'm surprised that the event you're going to in April, the 9th in Vegas, that's pay-per-view worthy. That card right there, pay-per-view worthy.
Yeah, and you know what? Nobody's doing it. That thing evolved quickly.
Yeah.
In a week, it went from one match to 7 matches. And I think Sean's still putting on looking at more.
I put a bug in his ear because I was on a show last week, and Joe Fox is looking for an opponent. Okay. When I got off the show last week, and someone got a hold of me saying, hey, what do you think about Quinlan Mendez versus Joe Fox? I'm like, okay. I'm thinking that's an interesting, intriguing matchup. Well, that person knows Quinlan. I said, you get a hold of Quinlan, I'll get a hold of Sean. We'll see if we can make things happen. Unfortunately, I think work or something like that is going to be in the way, so Quinlan couldn't do it, but that would have been a hell of a match,
Why aren't you going down there?
Let's see here, April 9th, because I'm saving all my chips to go to April 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
So later in the month.
I get it. We went way off track, but I'll get back on it. I'm picking Dave Chafee to win.
When you see that match, and it's easy for the people who don't know what's going on. Oh, Dave beat him last time, he'll beat him again.
It's not going to be easy, and I'm not going to put money on it.
No. Man, Gennady looked at when he pulled Michael, it was like wow. And I'm hoping, but see, Dave doesn't have that kind of style Michael does. So maybe what he, how he beat Monster Todd, that might not work for Dave because Dave doesn't pull like that. You know what I mean? So that may change everything. He's looking awesome. Don't get me wrong, but that's against that kind of puller with that style. Dave pulls completely opposite. So that may not work for Gennady, but who knows? But I think Dave wants to get back into the hunt. I think he's going to need this. I'm going to say it's going 3-3 silver bullet match. Chafee wins it.
Oh man, here's where I think it. I think that if it goes 3-3, Gennady wins it.
Oh yeah, hey, tell us why. Tell us why.
I just think there's I think the stamina for Gennady is going to edge out Dave's a little bit.
Yeah,
and I think Dave is the favorite in the early rounds, so I think he needs to beat him 4 matches in a row.
Gotcha.
And if they continue, then it's Gennady's chance to get a couple wins. But if he doesn't stop him by match 4, I mean, I don't think he's got a chance in the first couple stylistically, but I could be wrong. I mean, Gennady might have leveled up so much that he just blasts right through.
He could, but if he goes down 2-0 to Dave, now he has to play catch up. That's pretty hard to do in a 6-round format.
It is.
I mean,
but we have seen it.
It has been done.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, what else you got? What's the next one we're going to talk about here?
Todd Hudson. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, Preacher Arm Wrestling, couple comments. He was talking about the contracts. They should be dead. Look at these amazing matches we're getting because they aren't tied up. Good point. He also says Dave will have superior side pressure and has a strong enough hand to contain Gennady. Most likely, yes.
And, you know, where Todd likes to be out here, you'll never see Dave out here.
Well, we did once. We did.
Well, yeah, unless he's forced to. But usually Dave's going to be up here. He's straight control side pressure this way, not so much out here where he's trying to, you know, fight the pronator out here, you know. That's why I think, you know, but like you said, the reason why I think it'll be 3-3 because, as you said, the stamina may wear him down. So
now you mentioned Hutchings. Who's he got?
Prudnick. I don't know what he's been doing lately. I really don't. I haven't seen anything he's done of late.
I think it's a long day. The Todd Hutchings that I just saw, it's a long day for Prudnick.
Yeah. You know, Todd is just on a rampage ever since that loss to Zolioff at the East vs. West 2. And, or was that the first one? That was the first one, wasn't it? Where he lost to Zolioff. Yeah. And, you know,
not to mention Chance Shaw is going to be in big trouble against Todd Hutchings, I think. And
that's coming up in April also. Is that the 23rd also? Because that's Michigan State. So
yeah,
that's a big day for arm wrestling, honestly. You got Louisiana State, you got Michigan State and Arizona State. So that's going to be a big day. But what we all see,
that whole month has got lots going on.
Yes, it's a good time to be in arm wrestling and be a fan of it. But I think Todd's going to sweep it. I'm sorry.
Me too.
He's going to.
I don't have much more to offer on that one. I think it's going to be a one-sided beatdown on that match.
But did you hear the rumblings though? Maybe even John Brzezinski is saying, "Yeah, I'd love to pull Todd." Do you understand that if that match were to happen, how divided this country would be? Like seriously, do you understand that? Like if that were to happen, the way his momentum's going up, Todd's going up. At some point, they're going to meet. They're going to meet at some point.
It was also tossed around that maybe Jerry Caderet has a rematch with Todd Hutchings.
Yeah, but Todd has a lot. He has Chance Shaw. He has Barbosa in September. I'm not sure if you're going to squeeze another match in between April and September. You probably could, because Todd trains like every day anyway. So he's just waiting for a phone call because he's always ready. But I'd rather see Todd and John Brzezinski, because if you talk about a buildup, former training partners, and the buildup of that, and we're talking about some guys who've been around the block, these two guys would always carry the U.S. flag when they went to Nemiroff or when they went to the Russian A1 or the Russian A1 tournaments over there. Those were the main guys that carried the flag. And now can you have those guys, and they live in different parts of the state now, and former training partners going to meet? Can you imagine the buildup for that?
I mean, and nobody really dislikes those guys at all. Like, they're not polarizing guys, right? So there are arm wrestlers out there that, some people love them, some people hate them.
Right.
That's not these guys.
No, dude, I mean, you're going to have people who are not Travis Baker fans. I get it. You cannot say one single negative thing about these two gentlemen right here, which makes it real tough. Please, if that match happens, do not stake it, because you just don't want to touch it. It's almost like you don't want the match to happen, but it has to happen.
Cody Merritt is in the chat.
Cody.
And he is saying that you have a much better 10 than I do.
Well, I mean, I got a tan. It's wintertime, so I have to.
I'm trying.
So, yeah, 6-0 Todd. Sorry, Brute Nick. That's just the way it's going down. And now, right. Arackley and Brezink, your thoughts?
I think, I said this the other night too, I think John beats anybody that is not top 5 or 6 super heavyweight. And maybe he can even do that, but it's arguable. I don't think John can beat, Levon, Devin. Well, we know that for right now. Levon, Devin, Kurdecha, Vitali. I think those guys are out of reach at the moment. And there's could be more in there. Chafee might beat John right now.
Right.
Michael, hard to say. Stylistically, John could still give him trouble.
Let's talk about that for a second. You said super heavyweights. I don't consider John should have never been. We should not have these conversations where can John beat Levon? Never. Those days are over. He did it. He was beating down Prutnik and Saplankov and all those guys, Semarenko, all those guys back in the day. John's 50 plus years old. He can't do what he did back then. I think some people, not all, but I think some people are still like thinking that John is that person back then. He's not, right? We don't need to put him in there.
He can't be, but he's still pretty damn good.
Where he's at is fine.
Yeah.
Bona fide super heavyweights are like, yes, Jerry Caderet. Yes, yourself. Yes, Breslin. If Travis ever got motivated. Yes, I get it. Even Devin's kind of borderline. He can go either way. Michael Todd can go either way, but now after what Michael went through, he's even said, maybe I just need to stop chasing the big monsters and just, take a step back and just go to the heavyweight class, which he may wreck some shit then, because then you will see Monster Todd and Todd Hutchins go at it.
All right. What are the matches you want to touch on?
I want to talk about a King of the Table 3 match, because this is very important. I don't know if people understand how important this match is for Larry Wheels. When there's a King of the Table, he's going to be involved one way or the other. He's 0 for 2. He's 0 for 2. I said after that last match, I'm thinking against Brandon Allen, I'm like, you know what? Maybe he can get some tournaments under his belt instead of just jumping right into the, super match. I think he might be overwhelmed. But then again, I'm looking and going, oh, he's pulling Khaled. I'm thinking, okay, interesting. I mean, that guy's hand strength is just off the charts, first and foremost. And I'm like going, okay, what's gonna happen out of that? Because I don't know their actual arm wrestling IQ, but that's probably the most evenly matched you could ever have, in my opinion.
Well, Brandon Allen, first of all, Larry Wheels has guts, man. He's never, set up an easy opponent for himself, and he sure could have.
Yeah.
He sure could have, but he took Brandon Allen. I mean, Brandon had a strategy there where he just kind of bled Larry, because there's an example of where, Larry takes a win or two, and then the guy comes back and beats him.
Question. What were your thoughts when Levon was down there training with Larry? Oh, yeah, he taught me how to just, it's all in the bicep. What were your thoughts on that? Because I got my own opinions about that, but I want to hear what you got to say first.
I didn't really watch much of that, but you're saying that he thought it was all in the bicep.
Yeah,
That is a that's a terrible statement.
it's just it was so bicep driven. That was a focal point. And I think this was leading up to his match with Brandon. Because this was when Chan Shaw went down there and visited him and stuff. And I'm like going,
Yeah.
and Levon was there in the background and they're doing the training stuff. It's the bicep. I'm like, okay, but if someone turns you in, yes, it's good to have a bicep, but that's not the be all the ends all in the sport.
Well, it's easy to exhaust a bicep when the hand isn't nearly where it needs to be.
Right.
And that's what Brandon did. Brandon went in there, looked like he had a solid game plan. And after match one, I figured he would win. And he knew something that Larry didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And he took that match relatively easily.
My fear, because Larry, when he got into his sport, he's exposing our sport in an awesome way, because he has, I don't know how many followers, it's out of this world, but by him bringing arm wrestling to shed some light on the world, and I'm thinking he likes arm wrestling, and I don't want to see him say, you know what, maybe this ain't for me, because he's taking loss after loss, and I don't want him to lose this one. I want him to get a win so we can keep, grinding and getting more, events. I just don't want to see that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. And I'm deeply concerned if Larry thinks it's all bicep based and bicep driven for his next match. Well, here you have a guy that has arguably the strongest hand in arm wrestling, even though he is a novice by all standards. We have seen what he has done to experienced arm wrestlers based on the size and strength of his hand.
Devin even said, when Devin went over there and trained with those guys, he said, I got to get in the strap with this guy. There's no way I can do anything with that. I have to get in this strap so that way the hands are tied up and I can kind of manipulate the angles in the lanes. There's no way to beat him, that fresh. So again, like, okay, if you're going to go bicep, it's like, and he got some big biceps on him, but still it's just like, you got to be smart about that. So I'm wondering who's he training with to get him prepared for this match.
Yeah. And right now we don't really know. Yeah. Like we're not seeing a ton of guys going over there at the moment. But I mean, Khaled coming in there and having a match with Larry. I mean, I'm worried about Larry in that match. Yeah. I think Khaled wins that match.
If he does, wow. Like, wow.
I just think his hand is too much.
Right. And I just thought of something. And before, I didn't mean to get off base. Sorry, everybody, if I'm getting off base here. But before we get to the Kardeka Vitali match, that's also on the King of the Table 3. What are your thoughts on RBJ canceling his match for Ryan Bowen? A match that everybody wants to see. And now, for personal reasons, he had to, bow out. Because I was like, oh, God, I really want to see that. That was supposed to be on this. But I guess now it got backed up or something like that.
Well, somebody pointed out that RVJ has been silent on social media as well. So something serious must be going on.
Right.
I hope he is well. But the issue, I mean, I'm disappointed. But I mean, they didn't cancel it. They postponed it. So that's good. Yeah. Hopefully it gets worked out. I want to see it. It's one of the most heated rivalries in arm wrestling. I think those guys genuinely don't like each other.
Yeah, that's true emotion. You can't script that. That's just straight up, animosity right there.
Yeah. So it's disappointing that that's not on the card. I would have loved to see that match. It would have been one of the highlights of the event, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. But hopefully we get to see it on number 4.
Yes.
And I'm going to buy the season pass because, for $26, you can watch all the pay-per-views in 2022.
Oh, they have that option?
There is that option now.
Oh, why did I not see that? Wow. Okay.
I checked that out. I think 2 nights ago, I was looking at it, and it's $10 for the pay-per-view or $11.99, or you can pay $26 and have the whole season.
Damn, I need to go jump on that. Wow. So I think the marquee on this one was the Viking Alex Kardeka and Vitali. You can speak more about Alex than anybody else because you know firsthand what he brings to the table. Do you care to shed some light on this?
See, I pulled Alex, and I felt like I could do something until I got hurt. I felt like I could do something, and I don't think I even realized how good Alex was until I saw his next match. I still had my doubts. He pulled Sporong, and that's an up-and-coming guy. Alex handled him quite easily, and then all of a sudden he's pulling Gasparini, and I was a little worried. And then Alex just dominates Gasparini, and then within like a 3-week period, Gasparini is back and he's beating Gennady. And then Gennady goes on to beat Michael Todd. So it's weird. It's weird math, but you now have to consider Alex Kurdecha to be in the top 3 or 4 in the world, maybe top 2. We'll find out right away.
I honestly thought after that whitewash, right, that Gasparini should have never been in that match to begin with. I personally thought he bit off more than he can chew, and then, oh, well, let me show you. I'm gonna smack Gennady, and wow,
that was
damn,
weird.
Gennady, how good are you? He beats Michael Todd. Then it's like it's back and forth, and it's people.
That was not what should have happened there.
What's that?
That's not what should have happened.
Right.
We all expected Hermes to get crushed by Gennady.
Yeah.
And then in turn, we thought Michael Todd was going to crush Gennady.
Yeah, because, and it was weird because when Gennady lost to Gasparini, my initial thought was that, you know what, this match with Michael, I think it might have taken the wind out of itself because it's not as motivating because, oh, you just got cracked by the guy who got annihilated. So now, does this match even mean that much to me now? And I'm just speculating. I'm not saying that's the mindset that Michael Todd went into, but when you're like, ooh, I get to pull, Gennady, he just got lit up by Gasparini, who in turn got blasted by Alex Kurdecha, kind of going, this is where Jerry Caderet needs to put his name in the hat and say, look, I'm tired of seeing all you super heavyweights get all the fame. I got to put my name in here somewhere. I'm injury free. I ain't pulled in like damn near 2.5 years. I'm ready to get after it. This is where Jerry needs to get in, but where does he go? Jerry is a nightmare for long levered top rollers. And I think bringing him over and sticking him in the mix with, I want to see what happens with him and an Hermes or him and even a Kurdecha would be fun to watch. Mm-hmm. I don't want to see, like, Michael needs to rebuild a little bit and regroup. I don't want to see him go and say, hey, I want that match with Jerry now, because maybe there's some wear and tear that needs to be dealt with in there. I already know what's next for Michael. He's got a series of left-handed matches coming up. Like, he's got Robbie in March and me in April. Yeah. Can we pause on the Vitaly match and let's talk about what you got going on? So next month at the Monster Factory, and like I said, I felt bad because after Michael's loss, it just seemed like I've never seen him like in depressed mode. It kind of worried me. I'm like, dude, are you like packing it in? Because just his body language. Yeah. His voice was just like, I'm gonna sign these shirts, but I just thought maybe I don't have it anymore. It's like, dude, don't go out like that. Shift gears. You got left-handed matches now because you got guys who are seeing you. And yeah, from a technical standpoint, stylistically, he's a different puller on the left side than he is on the right. So if I'm Robbie Topi, I'm thinking, okay, I got him next month. You said you have him in when? May? April 9th. April 9th? Okay, so you tell me, without giving any secrets, that's your next match, correct? It is not. I actually have a match with Kyle Raynor in Manitoba on March the 12th. Now, Kyle is an up-and-coming guy from Thunder Bay, Ontario. He's really strong. I don't know where his level is currently. Right. He wanted the match. It's very close by. It's a quick drive. I'm going to take it very seriously. And while I'm using it as a warm-up for Michael, I can't sleep on this guy either. And we all need tune-up matches from time to time. And guys and girls out there, when I say tune-up matches, I don't mean that in a bad way. What I mean is you need that match because now you can sit back and go, okay, I got a bigger match after that. I need to know what I can and cannot do. I need to understand that, hey, you know what? What can I fix between now and April 9th to get ready? Because, Michael Todd is not going to King's move left-handed. I'm going to tell you, he is not going to do that.
I know exactly what he's going to do.
He's not
He
going to.
knows what he's going to do. I know what he's going to do. The only question is, can he do it with me?
We're going to find out, which I know you got huge investment. I'm going to order the pay-per-view. Yes, I'm going to order the pay-per-view because, I got invested in that match because while you're focused on Michael Todd, I'm focused on Robbie Topi. Aha. So with that being said, I'm going to be sitting up there in my gym, in my garage, watching it going, okay. And then the following month, I will be there live when Robbie Topi pulls Paul Passmore. So I'm going to be just glued to him, right? So as you should, glued to that Michael Todd match because now you get to find out, okay, is it going to be the quick little pop like he always does? Because he does have that he can't do on this side because of the fractures and yada, 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 yada. But here it's just boom, But can he do that? Can he come in?
If Michael smokes Robbie, I'm going to be worried. Because Robbie's no joke, man.
No.
And Kenny Ferguson just asked, when am I going to pull Topi? It's funny you should ask that. I was actually offered. So I've got Michael on the 9th.
Mm-hmm.
And then the following in May, the 21st, I'm pulling Corey West left-handed in Texas. I was actually offered Robbie. Robbie wanted to pull me, but it was the exact same day. A different event. So I had to say no. I've already committed to the guys in Texas, and we've been working on that for a long time. So hopefully I take out the old line, and then the student comes and tries to avenge the master.
What are your thoughts on these young guys coming to take out the veterans? I feel this wave like, okay, I'm kind of in between. I'm like, I was around in 2011 when the two main things was Arm TV and the Northeast Message Board. But, some of you guys have been there longer than me, but yet I've been longer than some of these other guys. And so I feel like this just changing the guard is going on. What do you think about all that?
They're trying to change the guard, but I don't think they're going to be successful for some of them will. Like Corey probably is going to be, one of the top couple of guys in the United States pretty soon. Derek Smith, you could argue that he's there now. Derek is kind of an in-between guy too, though, because Derek's been around a long time. He's not like in his 20s anymore. He's been around a long time. He was around in the early days of Arm TV. Yeah,
and he even said on his show, he's like, I'm 36. I don't have that much time left. So,
he's got plenty of time left.
Yeah. Well, hell, yeah. You know what? You know what blew that theory out of the water, Ryan, is when I saw Ron Bath, damn near 60 years old, go toe to toe with that. God, what was his name?
Zurab.
Yes, go toe to toe with him. Yeah. So I don't want to hear I'm running out of time. Bullshit. Bull crap.
Yeah, I agree. It's Ron's an outlier too, though. Mileage affects everybody a little bit differently.
True.
Now, I don't believe Derek Smith has his pulling style is not one that I would look at him and say, your days are numbered. I would say the opposite. I'd say he's got a style that would allow him to hang around for a long time.
Mm-hmm. He's not gonna, because he's so long, it's not gonna have a lot of wear and tear on his, let's just say, elbow.
Now, Corey, on the other hand, he has a style that will make him more at risk for injuries.
In the long run,
yeah.
Okay. And that's what you're pulling him too, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So this is what I'm seeing. All these matches are happening. It's exciting because now it's like, okay, it's almost like, okay, every weekend there's something going on. And you got to go, okay, I forgot to write on my calendar who's pulling what. And normally on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, you're going to hear something about it, you know? So, yes, you made some comments when you were talking with Jeff Frank the other night where, hey, I'm going to Las Vegas to pull Michael Todd, but I may go ahead and tamper with the right-handed tournament. I'm thinking, are you sure you want to do that?
Well, it's a maybe, you know, and it could be one of those situations where I enter the tournament, I have a couple of matches, and I bow out.
Right.
You know, I just hope people don't take it personally, or, you know, if I just decide that I'm done in the tournament and move on. It's a test. So I'll pay my entry fee, I'll do what I can, and we'll see what happens. That's how I feel right now. That being said, I'm still only training my left arm. So when I'm doing 2 arm movements, obviously my right's getting something. When I'm at practice, I'm pulling a little bit with my right. But the focus is my left arm, and I'm going to keep training my left arm until I am at least done with Michael Todd, because I want it to be the absolute best presentation that I've ever brought.
Now, do you think you have enough time in between? Because you're pulling Michael Todd and you're also pulling Corey West. Do you think you have enough time in between, training wise, between those 2 matches?
Yes.
Okay. And everyone is different, but I always wondered with those big names, how much time does one need in between?
I have about 5 weeks. So I'll get home and I'll start training immediately, but it will be, you know, recovery type workouts.
Gotcha. And if by chance you happen to win both matches, does that make you the Arkansas State champion?
I don't know.
They're both from Arkansas. Would that make you the Arkansas State champion?
If I walk through Arkansas, I'm the best arm wrestler in Arkansas.
So is that match with Corey, is that in Texas?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Danny Gillian's putting it on, and he doesn't have the venue finalized yet, but he knows the date.
Right.
We're all good. And X Monster says, Ryan, if you can remember, who won that match between you and Derek Smith? Now, I remember Derek saying that I pulled him. I believe it was left-handed, and I won. But for the life of me, I don't remember.
Wow.
It was in the tournament somewhere. I think it was at the UAL when they gave away the car. Or maybe UAL. It was maybe it was WAL in the prelim matches.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't know you guys pulled, actually.
It came out of his mouth. Like, if you would ask me if I've ever pulled Derek Smith, my answer would have been no.
Right.
Because I don't remember it. And it's probably when he was very new. It might have actually been at WAF. Like, he did go to WAF a few times as well.
Yeah, he went to 2012, I think he went. Or 2016. Whenever it was one of those years he went to Brazil, I think.
Okay.
One of those years.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get back on track. What else we got?
Ingen Brezink, March 18th in Norway.
What?
Yeah, you didn't hear about that?
You know, I did hear about that. You know, you got, you know, potentially the best arm wrestler ever over 190 against the best arm wrestler ever under 190.
Yeah.
I think John is too far ahead. I think he wins the match.
With that, the first East, first West, and I think this is where Ingen, didn't he like hurt himself in his match?
He was actually going to pull Devin at one point. You remember that?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that. And I don't know if that was because they got this little love-hate
Devin
thing.
at 220 pounds, Ingen might stand a chance.
But do people really need to play the size game? Let's be honest. Do we need to play the size game?
No. Well, I mean, it's hard not to. I mean, you have different versions of Devin Larratt in the last 10 years where, a lot of guys would have beat him at the weight that he chose.
Right.
Devin wouldn't have been competitive in super heavyweight when he was under 220 pounds.
Yeah. And even, you look at all the old, when WL first came into exist and he was the 225 guy, he looked like, dude, he looked sick. He was lean and skinny and he looked like a model.
Let me rephrase that. I said not competitive. He would have been competitive. He just wouldn't have won.
Right.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say that because, and I'll take Robbie Topi. Now, Kenny Ferguson, who's watching the show, that's his training buddy, right? Okay. So, last I heard, oh yeah, he's coming. He's about 235. He's trying to come down to 235. I'm like, perfect, because I'm sitting at 232 now. So by June, when we have our match, awesome. Then, he's pulling Michael Todd. Like, there's no fucking way he's going to last against Michael Todd at 235. Then I hear, he's pulling Paul Passmore too. Again, there's no way he's going to win at 235 pounds. So what does that mean for me? That does not mean I'm going to go ahead and just bulk up to catch up to Robbie, just so I can at least be in the match. That's why I asked that question. Does everybody need to play the size game? Now I'm at 232 right now. Sometimes I look like, you look skinny for a 232 guy. Yeah, I probably do. I'm just like an overweight 220 guy, whatever. But, I don't feel the need to play a size game. Some people think they have to play the size game. Not necessary.
You see Kenny's comment just now?
I can't see any comments.
Oh, Robbie's 270. So there you go. I thought Robbie was going to stay smaller, like he was making choices with his life to actually be smaller and healthier.
I thought he was on the same train because I know Passmore and Carl Stanley, those guys said, you know what? I'm just tired of being heavy. They want to drop down the class. I understand that, I mean, from a life standpoint, I get that. And now I hear he's 270. Fuck me. What is that going to do for me in the summertime? And like,
it'll be 290 by then.
Oh shit, Then, for me to win would be the equivalent of me getting one win in that best of 5. That would be equivalent of a win for me, because if he's coming in at shit, what do I do, So
put it in perspective, Robbie would have to cut weight to make the heavyweight limit in the UFC right now.
Well, I mean, that would be what, 265?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's Brock Lesnar stuff right there. Like, damn,
But it's cool. I mean, I like seeing Robbie big and competitive, and he's got a big match coming up, and let's say he beats Michael, I beat Michael. It kind of sets up the or if we both lose, which I don't think is going to happen, but it sets up a good story for our match that's inevitable. It will happen. It'll probably happen before the end of this year.
Oh yeah. That's going to be awesome, because it's like going, oh, okay. Because then you guys can use, if you guys happen to get through Michael, you can use that as a measure stick, and Michael can say, well, hell, I pulled both guys. Here's my opinion. And there you go, right?
Yeah.
Now, Beer Man, Evan Bergorin.
Oh boy.
Because of the pandemic, he couldn't pull Schoolboy, a match I really want to see. Didn't happen. Got it. And I can't remember for the love of me. I think he has a match coming up.
He does. I have it right here. Let me pull up this match list here, because it's at the same event I'm pulling Michael.
Aha. Let's go through that list too while you have it up. So let's go here, Evan Bergorin.
So, what the hell? So they sent me the match list, but they left Evan Burgoyne's match off of here. So I have to go quickly over to Evan's page. Oh, I know who he's pulling. He's pulling Breslin's son.
Oh, Corey. Oh,
Corey.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I thought it was a right-handed match, which I don't know. I don't know anything about Corey. I know he's been around, like he's been arm wrestling for a few years off and on, as far as I know.
Oh, he's Tim's son. Hell, he suffered an arm break just like his dad did one time. So, but if the match is right-handed, that doesn't bode well for Evan.
No.
So,
no, don't think it does. I'll confirm that right now, though. While we're doing it, I might as well pull it up here.
okay. But yes, I mean, and Uncle John has a match coming up at Winter Blast on March 12th. Yes.
These guys are bad at self-promotion. They bury their own graphics and leads here. So anyway, I'm not going to find it right now, but let's go through the list.
Let's do that.
The first match that was booked was Matt Mask versus Tim Breslin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, stylistically, here's the thing, because Matt has that long arm, but it's more of a low hand top roll, right? Yep. And Tim doesn't have a hand of a super heavyweight. He has short fingers, but his pronation is so strong. And I wonder how much footage did Matt take into account when Tim pulled Derek at the King of California, And
will Tim show up? Can Tim level up between now and then? And I think the answer is yes.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, King of California, what was that, last month? January when they pulled?
Yeah.
So January to April, yeah, you can level up. Anybody can. But again, it's like going, Matt hits super hard, super fast, a lot more aggressively than Derek does.
Yeah.
And, Matt will do this to get the win.
Yeah.
And Tim's arm sustain that multiple hit after hit after hit is the question.
Or it's a tough one to pick. I would say that Matt's probably going to win. I mean, Matt's coming off of a loss too. It's been a long time for Matt. I think he's hungry again. He's got Devin going out there to train with him in a little while.
Mm-hmm.
I think Matt wins the match.
I would agree.
And then you got me versus Monster, which we already talked about.
Mm-hmm.
We have Rance Clayton versus Nelson Torque.
Rance Clayton. Don't know much about Nelson, but Rance, I think I've seen him. He was at the same event where Mass lost his super matches to Wayne Withers and Paul Passmore. I want to say the 2019 Mississippi State Championships. And I think Rance pulled Chuck Barlow, maybe. I can't remember. But, Rance is one of those guys that you don't want to sleep on. Once he gets into his power, it's very, very hard to beat him. Very hard.
Now, I think this is I don't know what's going to happen in this because Nelson Torque, he's a Canadian, but I have no experience with him at all other than, conversations with him online. Big support of arm wrestling. Apparently he's training with Matt, and Matt would be one of the ones that would, advocate for the match a little bit, I think.
Right.
But the experience level and probably table IQ level of Rance Clayton will be exponentially higher.
Yes.
And we'll see. It's interesting enough where Drake says my money is on Ryan. Thanks, buddy. Mike Fontenot versus Jeff Frank.
Fontenot. All right. So, and this is right or left?
I believe it's right.
I don't know how Jeff Frank's right is. I don't know.
Yeah, it's an interesting match. It probably, again, the experience level goes to Mike.
I can only speak about what I know left hand with Jeff Frank. Him and I had a match at the Washington State Championships in December, and I ended up winning 3-1. And somebody asked me, hey, how'd you feel? And when I say this is no disrespect to Jeff, but I felt that I controlled him the entire time. The one mistake I did make was match 3, where I didn't fully commit to a hook. I kind of half-assed it. Was like, should I do it? Should I do it on the go? But he sunk it in more, and then when he took me over, I tried to slip last minute, but when I slipped, I was below the pin pad. So that's how that loss came to me. And then, of course, I just got irritated and just fucking slammed in the last match. But strong hand, but I think Jeff was more. If you get the jump on Jeff, I don't know if he can hold on. I guess what it comes down to. I don't know how fast Mike Fontenot is, but that's my experience with Jeff.
Yeah.
But that was left hand though. I don't know what his right feels like.
This one is an intriguing match for me. You have Sean Hancock himself, who is also the event promoter, against Fraser Benoit, who is a multi-time Canadian champion. And Fraser actually runs a gym, a studio gym where it's Fraser's next level training, and he trains a lot of guys for arm wrestling.
Ooh.
Like his table IQ is exceptional. I'm actually going to have him maybe join us one day.
Yeah.
To talk about his gym, because it's pretty interesting what he's doing up there. He wants me to come and train up there, but I mean, it's pretty far for me. But Fraser is a multi-Canadian champion. He's a little bit not quite as big as Sean Hancock, but it's a good match. It's probably the best matchmaking on the card.
I'm gonna tell you right now, all of them were going to end up into the strap.
And Fraser loves the strap.
And so does Sean. So this is why, you know what? Let's just bypass the setup and slip. Just go right to the strap, because we know that's where they're going. So
Fraser loves not just the strap, but referee's grip. So, and that's just because, he will not compromise on his setup, which is amazing. And laser focused on that. So I'm going to pick Fraser to win the match. But it's going to be competitive. And these guys have never touched hands ever. So
I'm assuming this is left hand, because
yes, it is left hand.
Sean doesn't pull right. I have experience with Sean. Actually, 2020 pulled him Vendetta style. What the Vendetta like per se tournament, but it was a Vendetta style kind of tournament, 6 rounds, and I threw everything I had at him, and I couldn't do anything. Couldn't do nothing.
It'll be a fun one.
I would love to revisit that now, because here we are. I mean, I've leveled up since then, but I couldn't do anything with Sean. The hand strength that guy has is just, and then the lanes he picks is like, wow, woke me up. I'm gonna have to go with Sean Hancock on this one, but I do want to have Fraser Benoit. I would love to, have him on the show so we can talk about his famous gym.
Yeah. And then we have another match in the works. It's not confirmed. I asked Sean for the match list, and he says, and the last thing he said was, and probably Joe Fox versus Jason Merlot.
Ooh.
Also good matchmaking.
Ooh. Is this right or left?
Right arm. Well, Merlot's left is incredible. I don't know if Joe does a whole bunch of left-handed pulling.
Right. Okay.
So
that can, because Merlot has Artem Taranenko next month as Winter Blast. And that's left hand, obviously. But it would be interesting to know what hand that is,
Yeah, for sure.
Because that day, Jason Merlot has man, that's an intriguing match. I mean, yeah, like I said, it's gonna I have to find out what hand that is.
I think it's gonna be right, but I don't know. I mean, it's gonna be a cool event. I can't wait to be there.
I can't wait for the next Arm Wars. Like, when is that gonna happen again? Like, maybe
it's got some interesting stuff going on that I'm sure we'll see soon.
Yeah, I know the Uncle John match, left-handed match with Mr. Bradford comes out to this Friday. So
I was in I want to see that. I was in I was in Uncle John's corner for that match.
Yes.
So I'm curious how that comes across, because I think James, his work on those matches is like the best thing I've seen.
Well, you were part of that first one. So
Yeah.
I want you to tell everybody out there watching, now the way they edit that now, where it's almost like a documentary type deal. And all the athletes that were actually there had some comments to say about a particular match. So when you and Alex were pulling, everybody chimed in on it. Aside from your side of the story, Alex's side of the story, other people like Jeff Hale, Giannis were speaking about it. Tom Holland had a few comments. I mean, everybody who was on that match card had something to say about each other's matches, which made it cool. Give us some insight, as far as, if you can, like, how cool was that? I mean, as far as the buildup and stuff.
The cool part is to see it afterwards, because I've done all the stuff we did at Arm Wars, like the interviews before, the interviews after. We have seen that happen with World Arm Wrestling League, but nobody has repackaged it and edited it quite like James did and made it look like it did. It's I was so impressed. And even though, like, I wouldn't go out there and say, hey, I lost this match, go watch it, if it was typically, but I liked that production so much that I had everybody watch it.
Yeah.
Like, it was, it was awesome. It was, if anyone ever has the opportunity to go there, even if it's out of pocket, you got to do it, because it's a different experience.
That's one of my bucket list events to go to. Hopefully, because my situation, which I really can't speak about, hopefully I'll be able to do that. I know Neil and I talked about that a few months back. There were some rumblings not too long ago where, hey, I will come down, catch weight, cut down to a certain weight to pull Uncle John at Arm Wars, and we'd fucking blow the roof off that with the build up for that. But then I got a message from Neil saying that's probably not a good matchup. Him being at, I guess John wants to be at 185. That wouldn't be a good matchup. So I'm thinking, okay, well, what's going on? Because I'm not just gonna, my intention was to cut down to 210 was actually the weight. I wasn't gonna do it for anybody. I was gonna do it for him, because I think if you want, build up, if you want action, if you want the crowd being involved, because Uncle John, WWE background, character-wise. Me, WWE background, character-wise. You, WWE background, character-wise. We can, that's what they wanted. We can do that. But if Neil's in charge, if he's Vince McMahon, he says, hey, we're not going through that, then I guess we're not going through that. So I understand that. Hopefully, one of these opportunities I get a chance to do that, but we'll have to wait and see. And, there's so much going on right now and so much waiting, all that kind of stuff. So we're going to have to wait and see how that goes. But I do like the way Arm Wars is now, because it tells a story. It ain't just, the match was 6-0 or 4-2 or 5-1. It tells a story. And that's something that the original Arm Wars didn't do.
Yeah. And, it's not the typical, you put on a match, you watch the match, it's over kind of thing. There's no lag time, in between fouls and setups and all that bullshit that makes us not that viewer friendly of a sport. That's gone. Like, you're enjoying it the whole time you're watching it. And that's exactly right. So Arm Wars, that style of production is definitely the future.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
And I hope it stays like that, because that is like, that's some good stuff right there.
Yeah.
People beefing at the ref, beefing at Paul, like it was funny,
And Paul threatening to stab Uncle John. That was
yeah, I mean, he would these one-liners would get off me tits. And it's like, and I was like, did he just say that? I had to laugh because it's funny, so
David Mars says, hey, Ryan, I hope you're healing up well and ready for your upcoming matches. And everyone get over and subscribe to Jody Chocolate Thunder Williams' channel. If you need to know the link, it is in this video's description. Thank you. Scroll down a little bit.
Yes.
Click on it.
There's interviews. There's certain workouts I put out there. And, I put everything out there, man. I'm not like, some guy that's like, oh man, if I do that, they're going to know my secrets and stuff, because I throw things out there where, hey, if somebody wants to, let's just say a hook arm wrestler, want to know, hey, how can I work on my hook? How do I get into a hook? If 5 people explain their version of how to get into a hook, one of them are going to be like, that makes sense. So, I give out random, videos. This is what I do for my wrist or my hands and that kind of stuff. Now, I'm not saying it's going to work for them, but I always give them a different option. Now, it may or may not work, So, because my theory with that is I can do everything John Brzezinski does to a T. Not going to make me pull like him. So.
Well, Jody, we've been on for an hour, my friend. Anything else you want to cover before we sign off?
No,
because
I think
we are back on Monday, yes, at our normal time. And I'm going to log everything that we missed here. Anything. Kenny, we'll save that one for the next show. And then we will also talk about, you brought up the point about tournaments versus super matches. Maybe we can table that one for Monday as well.
Yes. Can we do that, please? Yes, because I think people are going to be really interested in what I have to say on that. So
I agree, because I'm curious what you have to say on that. So let's put that one off to Monday.
Okay.
Warren, we'll put off the UAWL to Monday. So we'll make some notes here. UAWL, Krasner versus Corey, and tournaments versus super matches.
Ooh, how about WAF versus IFA?
Oh, yes.
Because you're a WAF guy, I'm an IFA guy. This ought to be good. So
yeah. All right, my friend. This has been the show, and we will be back at our usual time, 11 Central on Monday.
Monday morning, everybody. Thanks for joining us. I hope you hit that like button. I can't see it, but I hope you guys hit it. And
hit the like button.
Everybody kind of.
Man, we got more likes than we got viewers right now, so it's working. And get over and subscribe to Jody's channel as well.
Yes, I know. Hopefully, I think half of them kind of dipped to go see Uncle John because he's on live now. So
right on. That's good.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. Ryan, my friend, have a good weekend. We'll chat. And I'm looking forward to Monday morning.
Me too, my friend. We'll see you then.
Take care, guys.